Well, hello model car fans. Welcome to the Muscle Car Modeler. My name is Ral, and here I'm getting started on my Turbo Interceptor, the M4S, 82 Dodge concept car. It's not even really a concept car, but anyway. Also known as the Wraith car because it's in the movie The Wraith, and used in that. Most people know it from that, which is what I'm familiar with it for, besides the PPG connection and what happened before the movie. But anyway, this is... I haven't done any actual work to it other than trying to wash it and prime it so you can see, and the camera will pick up all the texture and the detail so you guys know what's going on. So this will be a real brief update, but I'll add to it as work progresses. So didn't do any gluing, just cleaning, and like I said, it's very porous, so when I washed it, it took a while to actually dry and get everything out of it. But here you can see the texture and the angles and everything that's going on with it. And so I've got a lot of sanding ahead of me to do. But the primer seems to be sticking to it pretty good, so I'm pretty happy about that. But yeah, you can really see the texture and all of this stuff. And so I've definitely got to mate them up. And you can really see in there. It's going to take quite a bit of body work here to work this and clean it all up. I sprayed it heavy in some of the primer here just to see if it fill in a little bit better. So I think maybe an aerosol primer would probably work a little bit better than airbrushing it, because the airbrush really gets, shows off the texture, but when you get thick it starts to fill it in. So we'll see what happens when I start sanding it and you can see the lines and everything. But so we'll see what happens when I start doing the body work on it. But first thing is get the two halves together. And here's the insert, although it's seriously bowed. And had some chunks out of it here, but this is going to be black. Thankfully this thing is all dark brown and black, so if the body work is done right, and I got to get that fitted in there pretty well, but you can definitely see all the texture in there. So we'll smooth it out and see what happens there. And these are, in fact, when you mate these together, these go underneath. But you can kind of see once I get them mated together. The wheels came out nice though, I'll say. So the details on these are pretty good. Tire tread a little shallow, but they primed really good. There's some bumps here that appeared. Looks like bubbles expanded or whatnot. So there's some sanding in there, but the outsides look really good. Then the other two right here. And here's that weird line. I don't know if that's just something that just fell off the printer and stuck. Just kind of odd. But you can definitely see it now. And some of the debris in the spokes. So I'll pick some of that out with a needle and clean it up. But these actually look pretty good, the wheels do. Let me see if that'll just pop right off. Huh, yeah. Yeah, that did. So, whatever it was stuck on there, but it popped right off, and we'll see if it cleaned up and do some cleaning on it and see how it goes. But anyway, so there's that. So, start a round of body work and sanding and see what happens. So this is what I'm doing with this one. Doing some sanding. I got a piece of tile here that I've had for a long time. I use it for a cutting board or sanding block because it's really flat, really smooth, and works out really well for something like this. So what I'm doing here is I'm taking my sandpaper and working this area flat and this area flat. So this one tapers this way, thankfully. So I've been sanding it flat this way and then also sanding it flat this way, just going crisscross and flattening this out and this out. Now, this one hangs down a little bit in the front. So what I'm doing is I'll put the sandpaper here and I'll let that hang over the edge, and then I'll sand it flat this way, and then been sanding it flat that way. And then I'll use this flat surface, I'll hold this down, and then mate that one up to it and get it mocked up to see how they line up. And then I'll super glue those together, and hopefully that holds. I started doing some body work on the side here just to see how it sands. just to see. And I'll get more primer on there and everything, but I figured I better get the two halves joined together first, and then possibly get those on there first, get all those pieces hooked up and together before I start really doing the bodywork, because no point in doing the bodywork while these two are still separate, and I gotta fill in this whole seam and make sure all these lines appear. So that's just the progress right now, and I'll get these two joined together. Well, I got that glued together, but I tell you, the super glue does grab it, and it grabs it quick and hard, because once it grabbed, I wasn't pulling it apart or separating it, so I did the best I can to lay it down here and made them together as best I can with my fingers and hands. But as you can see, it doesn't exactly line up, but it's pretty darn close. But once I start doing all the body work and blending, I'll get it that last little bit. But yeah, once that glue grabbed it, it grabbed it. So really had like very small amount of time to work on that part of it. But so now she's one piece, and I've got a ton of body work to go. So lots of work there, but not too worried about it. Get all that smoothed out, cleaned out, and so definitely a few nights of body work going on this one. But I can fill the divots in with the super glue. That seems to work really good, and start sanding. But she's looking pretty good. One thing I was looking at was these wheels and tires. After looking at the real car, they're tucked in a little bit. These come out a little bit. So I think I'm going to shave that and move them in a little bit, or shave the backside. Get them sucked in just a little bit, because I like where they sit on the rear, or they're just inside just a little bit. So I'll make my final decision there. Maybe I'll bring them out just a little bit, maybe a little more flush, but we'll see how it goes with all the body work first. But you know, the front stick out a little bit. I don't know. Once I really get going on the body work and really get this thing smoothing out and carving some of this, because I think I gotta, so these are pretty deep, but I think I gotta carve some of them, work that. But lots of body work. I just keep having to say that, body work, body work. There's gonna be a lot of body work. But there we go. Don't mind me, I'm looking at it and looking forward to seeing how this thing's going to look, and when it's done. Painting it should be pretty easy, because the real car, it's literally black and it follows this line, loops around. So all of this is black and the rest of it's brown, and then there's black on the bottom here. Just a little bit of work here. But these, even on the real car, these are tinted a little bit. You can see the lights through them, but they're tinted. So we'll see how I'm going to do that. I think I am going to put some lights in there and clean some of this out a little bit and make it a little cleaner, but it's pretty nice as it is right here. But alright, time to get cracking and smoothing all of this stuff out. But lots of work ahead of me on this one. Nothing that's going to be fun to sand. I'm sure you don't want hours of videos of me just sanding. I personally don't like doing that either. But that's what's in store for this project for now. But not a whole lot of parts to it. Hopefully she comes out really good. But definitely a different project for me, and a new challenge. So, alright, well, thanks for tuning in, subscribing, and watching, and all your comments. I really appreciate it. And you guys let me know what you think on this one. And you have a wonderful weekend, and I'll see you next Saturday.